Hi Primary 3. This week for our writing, we are going to be writing a story about spending a night at the museum where all the exhibits come to life. So we're going to call it Night at the Museum. Now you might have heard of a movie called Night at the Museum, and it's a really popular movie and it's really good as well. So what I would like you to do when you go into your assignments, you'll see my PowerPoint for this has been loaded up, and you will be able to come into here and press the play button and it will let you play the video. And it's just the trailer of the Night at the Museum. So I want you to watch the video and then imagine you're spending a night at the museum, just like the main character is here. Once you've finished watching it, I want you to think about quite a few things. So, for example, why are you there? How have you ended up spending the night at the museum? Have you been on a school trip and you accidentally got lost or you got left behind, for example? What other reason might you have for spending a night at the museum? Who are your main characters going to be? Is it going to be about you, or is it going to be about two different people or three different people? So think about who you want to have as your main characters. What is going to happen in your story? So the Night at the Museum movie is about the main character, the security guard, finding out that all the exhibits come to life at nighttime, and then he has to try and persuade and convince everybody else that this is what actually happens, because they start to think that he's a little crazy, don't they? Because they wonder what he's talking about. So think about what is going to happen in your story and what will your problem be. What's the problem that your characters are going to come up against? And then think about how are you going to solve the problem. So you could write a plan like we've been doing previously. So you can write a plan out and write like this is what's going to happen in your beginning, your middle and your end. Or if you don't want to write a plan, you can just talk about your ideas with somebody at home. So we have been learning about beginning, middles and ends. So I want you to remember our story sandwich, and I want you to use this to help you plan your story. So think about your beginning. This is when the top part of our sandwich, this is when we are introducing our characters and our settings. Now, a night at the museum is going to give you so much for you to think about from a setting point of view. There is going to be loads that you could describe and use some fantastic adjectives, because there's loads of things in a museum that you could think about. Dinosaurs, you could think about animals, you could think about Vikings, for example. So there's really a lot that you could write about from a setting point of view. So in the beginning of your story, I want you to think about describing your setting and describing your main characters. Then in the middle, which is our filling part, remember this is where we introduce our problem. What is going to happen in our story? And then at the very end, our bottom part of our sandwich, we are going to think about how we're going to solve our problem. So when you're thinking about your setting, what are you going to see? What are you going to hear? What might you smell? What will your characters look like and be like? So think about what will their appearance be? So what do they actually look like? And what's their personality like? Are they kind? Are they nice? Are they gentle? Or are they selfish and mean? So entirely up to you. Think about how you're going to describe those characters, what they look like and what their personality is like, and going to use lots of adjectives to describe those characters and your settings. Think about using some of the wow words that we've been thinking about, or you can use some of the words that we've used from a thesaurus challenges that we've done in school. So if you've got a thesaurus at home, you can use that, and you can get one on a computer as well to think, how can I make the words that I know a little bit more interesting? And then most importantly, how are you going to make your ending exciting and not finish with the words happily ever after? We do like to use those words when we finish a story, but I want to give you a challenge this week, and you think about a different way to end your story rather than using and they lived happily ever after. So our success criteria today, girls and boys, and remember, you need to keep on looking at this all the way through your writing to make sure you're doing it, is I want you to use lots of brilliant adjectives to describe the setting and the character. Use interesting vocabulary. So those are our wow words. Think about how you can make it exciting and interesting for the reader. And then I want you to create an exciting ending. Something when I'm reading it, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm really excited to keep reading. So think, how are you going to make me really excited reading your story? And you have been doing a fantastic job at home of using full stops and capital letters. So I would like to you to keep on using those full stops. Think about where you're going to put your full stops in your sentence. Remember, that's where we want to stop. We want to give the reader a breath, and then make sure that you're using capital letters only at the start of your sentences. We shouldn't see capital letters anywhere else in your writing unless you're wanting to use it as, say, somebody's shouting and we're using it with an exclamation mark. So capital letters only at the start of our sentences. I'm really looking forward to reading your stories, girls and boys, and learning everything that you've put together about our beginning, middles and ends. Have fun.